It's 6 p.m. on Tuesday here in Korea. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Hwang Ji-hye, and these are the top stories we're following at this hour. Negotiators from 12 countries reach agreement on a trade pact that will cover 40% of the global economy. Korea, which already has 10 bilateral trade deals with 12 of them, reiterates its interest in signing on. Ahead of a key political anniversary later this week, North Korea beefs up its propaganda to demonstrate its military might. It also claims that it's capable of miniaturizing nuclear bombs. And NATO condemns Russia for invading Turkey's airspace as tensions over Russia's involvement in Syria heat up. Moscow claims the incident happened because of bad weather. Pacific trade negotiators have reached a historic deal on what has become the world's largest free trade pact, accounting for 40% of the global economy. Once ratified, it will remove trade barriers for 12 countries, including the U.S., Canada, and Japan. So how big a deal is the TPP? Kim Min-ji reports.
They're calling it a historic agreement. After 5 years of talks, trade negotiators from 12 countries have struck a deal that will reduce tariffs on almost 18,000 categories, ranging from automobiles to food, and set standards for labor and the environment in the trade bloc.
We've come to an agreement that will support jobs, drive sustainable growth, foster inclusive development, and promote innovation across the Asia-Pacific region.
The trade pact, called the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or TPP, involves the U.S., Japan, Malaysia, Vietnam, and 8 other Pacific Rim countries, which together account for about 40% of the global economy. It is the largest trade pact ever, making up for more than a quarter of the world's trade volume, and covers a combined population of almost 800 million. Supporters of the deal say the agreement will facilitate higher-paying jobs, as well as boost productivity and competitiveness, and raise living standards in member countries. Some also see it as a way to counter a rising China, which is not a member of the agreement, and paves a way to open new markets for American companies. However, critics have not been happy about the negotiations, which they say have been overly secretive in nature, and argue that the trade deal will benefit large corporations and shift more jobs overseas. Although the deal is being concluded, this is just the first step in what is likely to be a long road ahead as the participating countries take the deal back to their own governments for approval. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
Korea is not one of the countries joining the mega trade pact, but it has reiterated its intent to be part of it soon. This amid growing concerns that being left out of the deal would erode the competitiveness of local manufacturers against their Japanese rivals. Shin Se-min has more.
The Korean government says it may join the Trans-Pacific Partnership soon, following the deal reached Monday. Korea's finance minister Choi Kyung-hwan said Seoul is in the midst of reviewing the possibility of joining the regional bloc that could become the world's single largest trading unit. But for now, Korea is not one of the 5 countries that are among the top 10 trading nations to have joined the TPP. And Korean exporters will have to bear the brunt of Korea's decision to not join the pact by losing competitiveness. Once the trade pact goes into effect, over 80% of the Japanese auto parts entering the U.S. market will see a large portion of existing tariffs lifted. Cheaper Japanese auto parts could give U.S. automobiles a leg up in the competition as well.
U.S. cars made with Japanese auto parts will see their prices drop, thereby becoming more competitive. Korean automobiles will be jammed between cheaper cars.
Aside from that, Korean firms involved in the oil, chemicals, and construction sectors could also be at a disadvantage. The Korea Institute for International Economic Policy predicts the country's annual trade balance will increase by up to $300 million and a production effect worth over $800 million should Korea join the TPP. But experts say the Korean government should weigh its options thoroughly, as the country already has trade pacts with 10 of the 12 TPP countries, with a number of other bilateral trade deals still pending.
Even if Korea decides to join the TPP, it can only participate so much, being a latecomer. So a thorough examination of current and future trade deals is crucial.
Experts say that being part of the regional bloc will ultimately be advantageous, helping Korea not only economically but diplomatically, as a number of world powers are already part of the deal. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
And staying with the Korean finance minister's remarks on the possibility of Korea joining the trade pact, Finance Minister Choi Kyung-hwan comments were made during a parliamentary audit session on Tuesday. He said Korea will go through the necessary steps, including public hearings, to decide if and when Korea should join the trade pact. He also said that the government will also examine the pros and cons of whether to join the massive trade deal. The finance minister added that one of the reasons why Korea did not join in the early stages of negotiations around 2008 was that Korea was already engaged in trade negotiations with the U.S. and China at the time, and the Lee Myung-bak administration decided that it would be better to focus its attention on the other two deals. The former chief of Korea's spy agency was released on bail today after serving 240 days in prison over allegations of election meddling. The Seoul High Court freed Won Se-hoon, with the court citing his right to prepare his defense for an upcoming trial. Won led the National Intelligence Service from 2009 to 2013 and was sentenced to 3 years in prison in February on allegations that he intervened in the 2012 presidential election. Prosecutors said he ordered agents to post comments online against opposition candidates in order to sway public opinion in favor of Saenuri Party candidate Park Geun-hye. Critics have questioned whether or how much the smear campaign affected the election, which President Park Geun-hye won by a slim margin. A U.S. research institute is seeking to quash speculation North Korea is about to launch a rocket, saying there's no evidence whatsoever to support the claims. North Korea monitoring website 38 North disclosed recent satellite imagery of the Seohae launch facility on Monday and explained that it was not showing anywhere near the level of preparation required for an imminent launch. Senior editor of the website Joel Witt assessed that it was almost impossible for a launch to take place around the 70th anniversary of the country's ruling Workers' Party on October 10th. However, the expert did note that North Korea is in the process of upgrading its facilities at the rocket test site, possibly to test larger engines that could be used in larger rockets. Still, North Korea has made fresh claims about its military prowess ahead of the key political anniversary. In a program aired Monday, it showed off an intercontinental ballistic missile and a new cruise ship and sought to legitimize its previous rocket launches. Connie Kim reports.
North Korea aired a 30-minute special program on Monday, boasting about its military might and its ability to miniaturize nuclear bombs. The program, broadcast ahead of a key political anniversary this weekend, was also aimed at justifying the legitimacy of the regime's previous rocket launches. It claimed past launches and those in the future are merely aimed at putting satellites into orbit. The program also showed the North's KN-08 intercontinental ballistic missile, while pointing out that North Korea has conducted 3 nuclear tests. The narration also made an ominous threat to the U.S.
The historic experiment helped us produce miniaturized atomic bombs with great explosive power. They will target the United States.
The program also displayed North Korea's newest cruise ship that was built on Kim Jong-un's personal orders, specifically to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the founding of North Korea's Workers' Party. According to the program, the 4-story, 3,500-ton cruise ship can hold up to 1,200 passengers. Experts say North Korea is using the propaganda broadcasts to promote Kim Jong-un and his late father's achievements ahead of the anniversary event.
North Korea is trying to promote the sophistication of its nuclear capabilities within and outside the regime in the run-up to its Workers' Party anniversary ceremony this Saturday.
Analysts add it's highly unlikely that North Korea will conduct a rocket launch this week, given that there are no signs that preparations for an imminent launch are underway. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Tony Blinken is in Seoul for talks with officials at South Korea's foreign ministry. Blinken will hold a one-on-one meeting with Vice Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yong and pay courtesy calls to Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se and Unification Minister Hong Yong-pyo. They are expected to discuss North Korea issues and President Park Geun-hye's upcoming visit to the U.S. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency is also in town. Yukiya Amano will also meet with Foreign Minister Yoon and hold talks with local nuclear energy officials on ways to boost two-way cooperation. Korea is expected to seal a deal with Indonesia this month as a partner in developing Korea's indigenous combat jets with stealth capabilities. According to the Defense Acquisition Program Administration on Tuesday, the two countries are currently in negotiations and are widely expected to sign a provisional contract this month. Under the agreement, Indonesia will participate in the development of the Korean fighter experimental project to replace Korea's aging fleet of mid-tier F-4s and F-5s. NATO has issued a sternly worded warning to Russia about its air raids over Syria. The alliance is also urging Moscow to stop any further incursions by its warplanes into Turkish airspace. Russia claims the violation was a simple misunderstanding, but tension over Russia's active involvement in Syria is growing. Kwon Jang-ho has more.
Russia's defense ministry was quick to offer an explanation for the warplanes that violated Turkish airspace on Saturday.
The incident is the result of unfavorable weather conditions in the region. There is no need to look for conspiracy theories here.
The Turkish Prime Minister confirmed in a television interview on Monday that Russia had been in contact over the incident and promised it would never happen again. But the BBC is reporting that Turkey has summoned the Russian ambassador for a second time after another airspace violation on Sunday. The NATO Secretary-General called the incident unacceptable, adding that Russia's actions were not contributing to the security and stability of the region. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry has also expressed his dismay.
We're greatly concerned about it because it is precisely the kind of thing that, had Turkey responded under its rights, could have resulted in a shoot-down, and it is precisely the kind of thing that we warned against.
There are further concerns as well, as reports of Russian mercenaries in Syria are also starting to surface. Doing little to dispel this rumor, the chairman of Russia's Parliamentary Defense Committee said volunteer Russian forces who had fought in eastern Ukraine could appear alongside the Syrian army. In an interview with the Interfax news agency, he said they couldn't be stopped and intimated that money could be their motivation. Tensions have been running high after Russia waded into the Syria conflict last week, carrying out dozens of airstrikes so far. Although they have been claiming to be targeting Islamic State militants and al-Qaeda groups, more Western-backed rebel forces are reported to have been hit. For now, the US has continued to support rebel forces fighting against the regime of Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad, but there are no signs yet that they have any plans to put boots on the ground. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
Stores across Korea are bustling with shoppers taking advantage of the Korea Grand Sale, which has been dubbed the country's Black Friday. Now the country's biggest department stores are expanding their discounts with additional reductions of 10 to 20% off. Starting Thursday, Lotte department store will cut prices on products ranging from household goods to high-end fashion brands by up to 90%. Shinsegae and Hyundai department stores will also slash their prices by up to 90%. The two stores are also extending their sale by 4 days to October 18th. Patients who suffer from a number of eye conditions will be able to get laser treatment under their private health insurance from next year. The Financial Supervisory Service says there have been complaints that most insurance companies do not cover treatment for conditions like cataracts, glaucoma, and complications stemming from diabetes. If they do, the insurance will only cover the costs if an incision is done on the eye, no longer a common method of treatment. The FSS says more than 12 private insurance companies will change their terms and conditions from January 1st to cover laser treatments, which can cost close to $1,000 without insurance. Over 2 million laser treatments were done in Korea last year. The expanded cover does not include cosmetic surgeries. A group of foreigners who study the Korean language and culture in their home countries is in Seoul to mark Hangul Day, which is this coming Friday, and celebrates the Korean alphabet. The 149 members will take part in a week-long program that's hosted by the Culture Ministry, the King Sejong Institute Foundation, and Arirang TV, the station that you're watching now. The program will take them to cultural sites in Korea where they will have a chance to experience Korean folk games, food, and music. Some of the participants will also take part in a Korean speech contest. The event kicked off with a ceremony in the capital earlier today. The participants are the top students of the King Sejong Institute, a Korean language school with over 100 branches in 54 countries. And that brings us to the end of our newscast. More updates coming up at 10 p.m. Korea time, so stay tuned and goodbye for now.